So we should be live. We should be live. Fight day today, of course. Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol going down tonight. WBA light heavyweight title fight. Of course, that belt is held by Dimitri Bivol. I'm interested. Obviously, when it comes to Canelo fights, there's a lot of I have a lot of doubts leading into them. I'm not going to lie. Well, you guys know that by now, but I don't know. I just hope Bivol comes in there with ambition, with a desire to win. That's all I'm hoping for. If he does, I think this is going to be a very good fight, a very interesting fight. Stylistically, Dimitri Bivol does a few things that could trouble Canelo theoretically. So it's going to be an interesting one. We've got MMA in the building. Big up to MMA. Team Bivol. MMA is going, his Team Bivol. I'm good, Dominic, man. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's not hard. Sorry, it's not hard to outbox Canelo. Doing it for 12 rounds is hard, yeah. We saw that in the Plant fight. There was moments where Plant had success, but his gas tank just wasn't good enough. And also, he had no power to keep Canelo honest. Whereas Bivol does have snap on his shots. He can generate a bit of power when he wants to, which is why I find this fight much more interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I can't lie. Am I going to stay up for it? I'll probably watch it tomorrow on DAZN because I can watch it with no spoilers. So Bivol is going to outbox him. Wouldn't be shocked if he wins on points. But even if he does, is he going to get the decision? Obviously, with Canelo, he seems to get the judges' favours every time. But on top of that, we have to look at the political angle here. Where is Dimitri Bivol from? You know, are they going to do him any favours if he wins a close fight? I doubt it. And I'm not trying to shut on the fight. I just see this as reality. Yeah, Bivol needs to sit down on his punches. But it will be a risk if he does. But you're right. Then there's going to be spots MMA where he needs to sit down on his shots and put a few shots together to try and keep Canelo honest. If he's just backpedaling all fight and not committing to anything, then yeah, he could be in trouble. But I think he's got the power to get Canelo's respect. I really do. Canelo will be looking for the overhand right, followed by a left hook to the body. Yeah, I can see it. Dominic's Team Bivol. I'm Team Bivol as well. Big up to Marianne G. Salute. Dick Justice in the house. Big up to Dick Justice. Still got like the best name of any like channel or any account that I've seen. Can you record on DAZN now? No, they'll basically, if you go on DAZN and you don't see the fight live, they'll have an archive of the whole card. So you can click on the whole card, archive, and it won't spoil the result. That's what I do. Big up, Del. I smell an upset in the air. Listen, bro. I mean, I hope you're right. It'll be nice to see. It'll be nice to see. Yeah, I get you, MMA, but what I'm saying is if he wins in the fans' eyes, it doesn't mean he's going to get the decision. That's my point. He could win 8 rounds to 4 and get robbed still. Salute, Del. Hope you and the chat are well. Genuine Canelo on points, in my opinion. Oh, you think he's going to win genuine? Okay. I know that MMA, but you know, the average normie, they're not going to see that. They're not going to see that. He's a Russian to them, right? He's like half Korean and half Moldovan or something. I don't want to stay out for the fight because my legacy is on the line tonight. I've been calling Bivol a great fighter for all of these years. So if he loses, I'm a fraud. Well, the best case for you then, if he loses, is that he loses by a fucking robbery. Then he can still kind of say it. But if he gets fucked up, then yeah. Jay's Boxing Universe, Bivol on points. There's a lot of you guys going for Bivol. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. But knowing what we know, I'm going to go Canelo points. Whether he wins or not, like in the fans' eyes, is a different matter. Shame we never got to see Johnson versus Smith Jr. I get you, bro, but I think Johnson was going to get smashed. To be honest, I think Johnson is done. I felt he looked pretty poor in his last two fights. I felt he lost to Server Umalayev, and he got dropped or he got badly hurt by that Markic guy. So I think Callum Johnson is done, bro. I think the injuries have caught up with him, the inactivity. I think he's done, bro. I really do. I think Joe would have smashed him. I hope so. I hope so, Bump of K. Yeah, Bivol has that. He almost has that Cuban mindset in the sense of he'll never really step it up unless he has to. Like we saw that in the Joe Smith fight. He was boxing Joe up, and in round 10, Joe caught him with that big shot, and he hurt him. Round 11, he kind of took it off, recovering. And round 12, he really stepped it up and put it on Joe. He hurt Joe at the end. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Bivol is one of those guys who'll step it up when he has to. I hope that's the case. Yeah, I agree. Rem, I agree. Yeah, the talk of the Canelo-Usyk fight is silly. I even read a comment saying Canelo versus Dillian White could go either way. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. But, it is what it is. Interesting question, because I do like Pitbull. I do like Pitbull. Do you think Pitbull is being a bit overhyped after the Gamboa win? And how much of a chance do you give him against Ryan Garcia? I don't think so, I think Pitbull Cruz has interesting attributes at lightweight. He's very short. He can get low. He fights out of that crouch. His defense is improving in his last couple of fights. We saw that with Tank. I think he's a good pressure fighter, Pitbull Cruz. And I think he could give a lot of guys trouble at lightweight. And he seems to carry decent power. Against Ryan Garcia is much taller. He's much longer. So, he's got the size advantage, but Ryan Garcia doesn't really use his size all that well. You could see a scenario where Pitbull Cruz is coming in behind that compact stance, nice and low, gets underneath Ryan Garcia's punches and really works him up close. I mean, look at how Ryan struggled with Carlos Morales a few years ago, who was pressuring Ryan Garcia. He really struggled with that style. I would be shocked if Ryan Garcia fights Pitbull Cruz next. If he does, I'd be looking forward to it because it's a great fight and it's a risky fight. So to answer your question, I do think Pitbull's a good fighter, yeah. Is he overrated? I mean, I don't think so, really. I felt he performed really well against Tank, and he did what he needed to do against an old man in Gamboa, But I like him, bro. I like Pitbull. I'm not saying he's going to be fucking the next coming of Chavez, but he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, in my opinion. I think I've entered a parallel universe where people are actually rating that Taylor Serrano fight just two small women slapping, but apparently it was an iconic fight of the year. Mass delusion. J-Dav, I totally agree, man. I've not seen the fight. I'm not talking about the fight itself. It might have been a good fight. But like the narratives surrounding how well the fight did, like people acting like, so it did 1.5 million views across 170 territories on DAZN, and they're using that to say it did better than Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. So Stevenson Valdez did like 1.4 million on ESPN alone, just in America, whereas Taylor Serrano did 1.5 million across 170 territories on DAZN. And they're saying that they are better numbers than the Valdez-Stevenson fight. Are you crazy? So what? How many people watched Valdez versus Stevenson in Mexico? How many? I'd say a fair few, right? Stevenson did better numbers. If you're looking at the combined global reach, of course it did. But people are fucking lying. People are just so dishonest. It's crazy. I couldn't believe that shit on Twitter. People parroting it. It's crazy. It's not that listen, if you're into female boxing, great, cool, no problem. If you think that's good numbers for female boxing, cool, great, good numbers. But don't then say it was a bigger fight than Shakur versus Valdez. There's nothing to back that up. Nothing to back that up at all. It's insane. But yeah, J-Dad, you're getting me going, bro. Bump of K, he's got Ryan sparking Pitbull out early. It could happen, bro. That's why I like the fight, though. That's why I like the fight. because Ryan could walk him into a left hook and he could knock him clean out. But if Pitbull gets under those shots and gets on his chest, Ryan could be in a lot of trouble. Backs up in straight lines, chin in the air, defensively, not that sound. And he's vulnerable, Ryan Garcia. So that's a great fight to me. By the way, big up to Jazz11 for the contribution. Who have I got winning the Parker-Joyce fight? I've got Joe Joyce right now. I think he'll outwork Joseph Parker. Parker will be fresh and quick early on. Maybe we'll win a few early rounds. But I think Parker goes into survival mode rounds 4 or 5, and Joe Joyce just wins the rounds based on activity, based on aggression, based on work rate. But it's a really good fight, Jazz. It's a really good fight. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully it gets over the line. It's a really good fight. But yeah, I've got Joe Joyce on points. Really good fight, though. Really good fight. And big up to yourself for the contribution, brother. Big up to yourself. Canelo is going to miss a lot in gas. Bivol versus Pascal Part 2. Johnson's career was ruined by inactivity, like he never capitalized after the Better BF fight. Yeah, I agree. But the injuries as well, Dominic. He had a lot of injuries. It's a shame because he would have been in some really good fights, Callum Johnson, but it is what it is. A lot of the top boxers, in my opinion, are playing poker in the ring. They're thinking long term, try not to show all of their cards before they have to. That's a possibility. Yeah, facts, Dick Justice. That's what I'm saying. I get the same thing. Oh, it's time for you to start covering female boxing. Who are you to say? Like, I've literally had those comments. Who are you to say I should cover it and enjoy it? I don't like it. And the fact that's the narrative, like people try to shame you for not liking it, goes to show like the growth of female boxing is not organic. It's purely forced. And that's the truth. That is the truth. The Bivol versus Salamov fight was low volume. Both guys never put their foot on the gas. I agree. Yeah, Bivol just completely outboxed him. DMD never had to get out of second gear. Love Tyson Fury, but him and Warren playing this retirement card while the WBC is trying to figure out what is going on is so damn aggravating. Yep, I mean, listen, I say the WBC, give Fury another week, then contact him and say, listen, we need to know what you're doing. Are you going to retire or not? And depending on the answer, go from there. You know, fuck holding a belt up. Like, if you're going to retire, just fucking do it. Vacate the title. You know what I mean? Vacate the title if you're going to retire. Tired of Tyson Fury's games, man. I'm tired of them. I think Pitbull stops Ryan. A tricky style for Ryan. Good tight high guard. Can fight coming forwards and is dangerous in exchanges. I agree. Ryan's best chance is to catch him in an exchange. Yeah, all coming in. Yeah, I agree, Rem. Again, I'm not saying Pitbull stops Ryan, but I agree with your synopsis there. I agree. I did a prediction video for the Pitbull versus Tank fight. And I was saying at the time, I didn't hate the fight as much as most people did. But I was still picking Tank to win convincingly. But I was saying in that video what I wanted to see from Pitbull in that fight. Because that's how I do my breakdowns. I always kind of say what I believe each guy should do to win the fight. And what I said for Pitbull Cruz, he did. So I was very impressed. I was very impressed watching that. He showed me adjustments. He showed me improvements in that Tank Davis fight. He's a good fighter, man. And he's got a fucking chin as well. Have you seen his head? Fucking boulder head. He's got a chin. Yeah, Kovalev and Saunders' plant gave Canelo some problems. I think Bivol has more than all three of them, to be honest. I'm excited for this fight. Again, I'd like to stay up and watch it, bump of K, but I've got to get up early in the morning, so I can't really stay up. But I'll watch it, you know, on the zone. I'll avoid the spoilers. I don't really mind watching a fight the next day if I don't have the spoilers, because it still feels like you're seeing the fight, if that makes sense. Because you don't know what's going to happen. But I hate watching fights where I know the result. Serrano got robbed. I've heard a lot about that, yeah. Taylor Serrano card was carried by Smith versus Vargas. That was a great fight, man. I enjoyed that. I heard about that. Nobody's talking about it, though, Rem. I think Floyd's star power is starting to dwindle. Have you ever bet on a fighter who didn't deserve a W but still got it? Doesn't make the robbery as frustrating, laugh out loud. Good question. Good question. I bet on Canelo in the Triple G rematch, and I felt Golovkin won that rematch. I don't think that was a robbery, though. I can't think of one, to be honest. I can't think of one. Are your nuts large? They are relatively large, my good sir. Ogawa versus Cordina. Good fight, actually. I don't know, really. I think Ogawa's going to win, probably, by knockout. He's a big dude at super featherweight. Hits hard with both hands. Joe Cordina's a nice boxer, but he kind of gets drawn into fights too much. He gives up ground way too much. And against Ogawa, that could be troublesome. I'd lean towards Ogawa, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cordina pulls it off. Cordina does have skills. Yeah, I like him. I like Liam Smith. Liam Smith is one of those guys. He's got some really good tricks on the inside. His lead hand control, his head positioning, the way he creates angles for himself to fire shots on the inside. He's got some really good skills, but Liam Smith is one of those guys, like, if he had a bit more speed and crazy punching power, Liam Smith would be a hell of a fighter. He would be a hell of a fighter, you know? But he's talent. He's good. Yeah, Liam Smith is the perennial lower level top 10 contender. You know, he's a real kind of like fringe contender. But Liam's a good fighter. I didn't used to like Liam on the come up. I'm not going to lie to you, but I like him now. Absolutely, DMD. Absolutely. And I see so many people selling out certain channels who said they'd never cover it and all this shit. It's crazy. But you got to, I guess it's get along to get along, but I'm not going to do that. Don't care. I'm not going to do it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. If you enjoy it, that's great. You know, I'm not saying they shouldn't fight or they shouldn't be allowed to fight. I'm just saying I don't enjoy the product. It's that simple. It is that simple. And the retards on Twitter, man, who follow it and like really kind of push it out there. I mean, those guys are so cringe. So cringe, man. I'm going Canelo, bro. Ryan, I'm going to Canelo on points. Whether he wins in the fans' eyes or not is irrelevant. I'd say about 70-30, banter swag. Looking to explode the bankroll. I wouldn't bet on a Canelo fight, bro. I personally wouldn't. Lara versus Spike seems like a pretty random fight on the Tank undercard. That is horrible. How does Spike O'Sullivan still get these opportunities? He fucking sucks. Honestly, man. He sucks. He's got a silly little mustache and a bald head. That's all he brings to the table. He's awful. I mean, that's poor, man. That is really poor. I mean, why not, yeah? So Lara's now at middleweight. Why not Lara versus... Who's the guy Charlo fought last? Montiel. Why not Lara versus Montiel? That'd be a fun undercard fight. Why Spike O'Sullivan? Yeah, Liam's good, man. Liam's good. Tyson Fury is going to do what Floyd did when it comes to selecting his opponents. I don't think he goes near Usyk. They're praying AJ comes through that fight. I agree. I'm not saying he won't fight Usyk, but I definitely agree. He is hoping, fingers and toes crossed, that AJ beats Usyk. Yeah. Fight of the year, fight of the decade, because of what it stood for. Embarrassing. Totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, did they not see Michael Conlan versus Lee Wood? It's insane. Kell Brook retired, my favourite fighter. Good to see him end on a high note. Yes, I'm pleased he retired. He got the Khan fight, he got the W, made a lot of money, called it a day. Cool. Yeah, the right decision. Eubank was trying to circle his corpse like a vulture, but I'm glad he's retired. I still see Kell Brook as wasted talent. I'm not going to lie to you. In his prime, I felt he was tremendously talented, but, took too long to step up. And when he finally won that belt, defended against nobodies, etc. I mean, his career never panned out the way I expected it to, because in his prime he was tremendously talented, Kell Brook. But yeah, good decision. Yeah, facts. Yep. Yeah, glad Kell's retired. Always liked him as a fighter. Very solid career, regardless, but still feel he underachieved. I agree. Yeah, no point discussing Ryan versus Pitbull. Too much politics in the way. Probably, bro. I hope it happens, man. I would be so excited for that fight. See, I like Ryan Garcia more than most do. I understand why people find him cringe, and so do I in that regard. I don't like that he's not active, but I like watching him fight, Ryan Garcia. I do like watching him fight. So get him in there with Pitbull. I'd love to see it. Happy to see Brook has retired. A bag of money, 2 bad eyes, and a win over Khan. Not too shabby, facts. Who would I like to see Shakur Stevenson fight next? Well, Agawa, he is fighting Cordina, so he can't get that unification. Roger Gutierrez, I believe, is fighting soon, so he can't get that unification. Honestly, if I'm Shakur, I'd be looking to go to 135. I'd be looking at going to 135. I don't think that even if he gets unification fights at 130, I don't think anybody has anything for him in that weight class. Maybe Robson Conceição. I'd say Robson Conceição next, and then go to lightweight. Yeah, there's a UFC card tonight as well. Yeah, Charles Oliveira. Yeah, good card. No idea who it was. Your older. Most I've won and lost on betting on a fight. Most I've won was like a 3 or 4 fight accumulator, and I won like 400. I think it was just about 500 quid, and it was an accumulator. It was when Chris Eubank Jr. fought Jamie. No. Yeah, it was when Chris Eubank Jr. fought Avni Yildirim, because that was one of my bets, a Eubank Jr. stoppage, which I got really good odds for. It was Eubank Jr. stoppage against Yildirim, George Grove stoppage over Jamie Cox, and there were 2 more fights that I forget. But yeah, about 500 quid. As for losses, I don't really bet big, bro. So like my biggest loss probably like 20, 30, 40 quid. Garcia beats him. I've seen Cruz look pedestrian against a tall fighter like Romero, and he had no power. Yeah, maybe, Exion, maybe. But again, I'd like to see it. What's up, man? Bivol should win this comfortably, in my opinion. Agawa signed by Matchroom to feed to Cordina. Next Welsh star they want to build. Agawa's going to have to stop him, which he can do, to be fair, yeah. It's a good fight. I mean, I've got no interest either way, Randy, to be honest. I'm the wrong person to ask. I say 3 2-minute rounds. Do you think Andrade ducked Janabek Alim Kanuli? Yeah, personally, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the guy was crying out for opponents, and one guy who raised his hand wasn't interested, and he declined it to fight Zach Parker. Who's more credible, Zach Parker or Janabek? I'd say Janabek. See, that's what I was calling for, Nathan, after Liam's fight. Tim Zhu versus Liam. Yeah, great fight. Legit, like you said, a legit test. Yep, Liam is by far the most likable Smith, I agree. And he actually tried versus Canelo. He got stopped, but he tried. He's a tough kid, Liam. He's a very durable guy. got a vibe that the carrot cake hype train is coming to an end with the invincibility and Usyk talk. Yep. I hope you're right, bro. Yeah, Liam's fought them all. A real warrior. Facts. Yeah. Like Munguia, Canelo, Liam Williams twice, Vargas, Kurbanov. Yeah, he's fought some good dudes, man. And I thought he was very unlucky in the Kurbanov fight. I don't think it was the robbery that people made it out to be. I think it was one of those fights that could have gone around either way. It's basically where that fight is held determines who wins it. You know, it was one of those fights, in my opinion. Tim Tszyu stops Liam Smith easily. I disagree, bro. I disagree. Liam Smith's got a granite chin. He's got a really good chin, Liam Smith. Like, he took Munguia's best shots. He took Canelo's best headshots. Struggled with the body shots, but he took Canelo's headshots. Liam Smith's got a chin. He's got a chin. He'll do very well to stop Liam Smith. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lara's going to ice that guy in 3 rounds, I agree. Yeah, imagine the scenes with Rolly Romero chins Tank Davis. That's all he's got to do, though, really, isn't it? Is try to rush him, try to smother him, try to really make it a rough fight, and hopefully he lands something big, because he can't box with Tank. I mean, Rolly's got no boxing skills, but he's a big cunt. He hits pretty hard. He's quite strong, and he needs to make it that sort of fight. You know, needs to look at Maidana versus Floyd. That's how he needs to approach this one. I think Zach Parker will give Andrade a lot of problems. Yeah, that fight's off now, though. Andrade's got an injury. Surprise, surprise. I mean, Andrade's career since, I would say, the Willie Nelson fight. Yeah, no, not Willie Nelson. Who was it he beat in 2016? Not Willie Nelson. Was it Willie Nelson? Hang on. Demetrius Andrade. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Willie Nelson. So 2016, he beat Willie Nelson, and that was the last time I was really impressed with Demetrius Andrade. You know, but since then, man, he got a close decision against Jack Kolkai, beat Selecki, beat Liam Williams. I mean, he's done fuck all since then. Yeah, Andrade's injured. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy D3. Again, I don't mind people. I got no problem with people enjoying it and talking it up. That is great. But don't lie to people and say it was one of the biggest fights of the year and it was bigger than Shakur versus Stevenson. All that stuff. Shakur versus Valdez, sorry. That's just lying. Nobody likes a liar, you know? And that's why people like me always question female boxing, because, like, again, the growth of it, and it just seems so, it's not natural, it's not organic, it's purely forced, even from content creators now, you know? But what do you expect, though? I mean, with these content creators, a lot of these guys are on their knees, yeah, hoping for a job with DAZN or whoever, Sky, whatever. That's the reality of the situation. That is the reality of the situation when it comes to most of these dudes. You know, they'll toe a line for a certain promoter or a certain angle. I mean, it is what it is. The boxing scene is fucked. It really is, man. There's a few channels out there still doing it, saying it how they feel. But again, most of these people are either trying to suck dick for a job or they're pushing a certain narrative to get fans. You know, that sort of thing. It is what it is. I think Andrade clocked Parker. It's a tough fight and probably not a lot of money. Plus, Canelo won't fight him anyway. Yep. Dudes on Twitter were literally calling this one of the greatest fights they've ever seen, yeah. I don't think Shakur's ever going to lose a fight, to be honest. I mean, listen, Shakur is very good. And I'll be honest, yeah, Shakur on the come-up, I always recognised his talent, but I didn't like watching him. Just because he was fighting the come-up fights against bums, and he wasn't going through the gears. He was content to box against bums and not go through the gears, and I found him boring, to be honest. But the last 2 fights, I've liked the improvements. I like now that he's standing in the pocket a little bit longer to throw combinations. He seems to be mixing things up more now. He's always going to be a boxer, which I don't mind. But when your skills are so superior, I expect you to go through the gears a few times in a fight, and that's what Shakur is doing now. He did it against Herring, and he did it against Valdez. So Shakur for me right now. Listen, cool. He's doing all right. He's doing all right. Yeah, Shakur versus Robson or Navarrete, then move up. I'd be happy with that. Taylor versus Serrano wasn't even the best women's fight, undisputed fight on the card. Yeah, I'd say so, Mike. I'd say so, yeah. He's feeling himself right now, Canelo. I don't watch snooker, Vorlock. I don't watch it, no. Oh, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I saw your message, bro. Yeah, I saw your message, man. Yeah, I mean, it was all right. It was quiet, to be honest, because I was working. But, you know, getting to my age now, I'm 28 now, so you don't really celebrate it like you used to, you know? Getting old, man. Grey hairs are coming in. That's the worst thing about having jet black hair, like black hair. Like when you start to get the greys coming through, they're really visible. So to combat that, I use a little. I rock a skin fade now, so the sides are like proper shaved, so you can't see the greys coming through. That's my trick. Shakur versus Tank is the fight to make at 130, 135. I've got no clue who wins that fight. Tank has that equalizer, but can he land it against Shakur? Tremendous fight. See, that's the sort of fight that American boxing needs, man. Two youngish guys in their primes. I don't think Shakur's in his prime yet, actually. He's only going to get better. But I'd say Tank is in his prime right now. Get those two guys together, man. That's a great fight. Be an amazing fight. I'd love to see it. I'd lean towards Shakur, but Tank can really crack, you know? Just watched Kovalev Canelo again. Bivol can do the same, but with more quality and variation. Judges will rob Bivol, I guess, unless Canelo lands a big haymaker. That's how I'm kind of seeing it, bro. Have you ever been in a street fight in the UK? Not for a long fucking time, mate. I'm a peaceful man, bro. I'm a peaceful man. The last fight I had, not in a boxing gym, was when I was 19. I'm 28 now. So not in a long time, bro. I'm not battle hardened anymore. Won a grand on my first ever boxing bet. Joyce versus Dubois, a beginner's luck because I won nothing major since. Listen, bro, that's a good win, though. That's a good win. My highest win is about 500, like I was saying, man. So that's a great win. Still got Bivol winning on points, by the way. People starting to join me on backing him. I can see why, bro. I can see why people back Bivol in this fight. But what is putting me off is the politics. You know? That's what is putting me off, sorry. Joyce versus Parker. What's your early pick? Joe Joyce on points. Parker starts well, wins the early rounds, but then he goes into survival mode. And Joyce walks him down, basically outworks him. Is Cordina even that good? Can't name a single opponent he's faced, and I don't think he can knock a wank out. He's got good skills, but yeah, you're right. He's not really fought anybody of consequence. But he does have decent skills. It's a hard fight. I don't really rate Agawa that highly, though, you know? That's why I'm giving him a chance. Agawa's big for the weight, and he can punch. But I don't really rate his skills that highly. Big up to Soler. Hope everybody is well, and we got a great fight. An upset would be fun. I agree, Soler. I agree. I'm rooting for Bivol, man. I'm rooting for him. I'd love to see Liam Smith versus Tony Harrison. That's a great fight. I think Tony Harrison, I think he outboxes him, but it's a good fight. Liam's going to be dangerous early on because that's when Tony fades. Great fight, though. Peace out, Dominic, man. Yeah, Israel Madrimov versus Liam Smith. See, Liam Smith's a good test for a lot of guys at 154. Charles Conwell versus Liam Smith would be a great fight. Yeah, I like Addy, but that's just not my style. I'll be real with you. It's not my style. I don't particularly care about being known. I just want to have my say on things. That's really it. All I really want, bro, is just to be able to say what I want to say. People who like it, and that's it. You know, that's it. Problem is, a lot of these guys just get gassed. They get a few thousand subs on YouTube and they get gassed, thinking they're like an authority on boxing. It's not that deep, bro. You know, it's not that deep. You just got lucky in the algorithm. But because that's really a lot of that's what a lot of YouTube success comes down to, is how lucky you get in the algorithm. That's the reality. Because there are great boxing channels I've seen with a few hundred subs, and they can break down their shit so well, man. Great content. Like Chris Andrade, for example. His channel is growing now, which is great. But Chris Andrade, to me, is one of the best boxing channels on YouTube, bar none. His technical breakdowns, his analogies, his presence, how he speaks, how he conducts himself. I think Chris Andrade is a great channel. Somebody like him deserves to have 40, 50,000 subs. Yeah, Jake Paul was promoting it and was supposed to take female boxing seriously, yeah. Do you think Shakur is too reliant on reflexes? I mean, he relies on them, no doubt, but I think he's got good skills to go along with it. A good sense of range, good footwork, etc., that sort of thing. He's got some good skills to go with it. Big up to Soothsayer, by the way. Yeah, not many Ring IQ fans here. Shakur would make Tank look like a artard in and out of a ring. I'm learning boxing. You can never stop learning boxing, bro. You never complete it. That's why boxing's so fun to follow. There's talks of Rick Indial fighting again. Sleep aid for insomniacs, yeah. Are you a slick southpaw like Ultratech Sports? He's a slippery, smooth operator. Now, I'm a tall, rangy, orthodox fighter. Lawrence Okolie-esque. Awkward, holds a lot on the inside. That's my style. I got a bit of power, though, in my straight right. That's about it, though. Yeah, listen, bro. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. I just can't get into it, bro. I just can't get into it. You know what I mean? Bivol by split decision. Canelo by split decision. How tall am I? I'm 6'1", nearly 6'2". And when I was actually boxing seriously, I'd have been fighting at welterweight. So basically Tommy Hearn's fucking frame. I've got the Tommy Hearns frame. The way Bivol should be able to outbox Canelo will make it very hard to rob Bivol, in my opinion. Bivol will lose by robbery. Who have you got, G-Man, in the Canelo fight? Who have you got? Big up to G-Man, by the way. Salute to G-Man. By the way, check out G-Man Boxing. Great channel. And also True Crime with G-Man. Canelo cards were actually reasonable scored at 168, to be honest. And also versus Kovalev. I guess the argument for shit cards happening is that the judges didn't need to be paid off for any of his 168 fights. Yeah, exactly. I like Bivol as well. He seems chill as fuck, doesn't he, Dimitri Bivol? He seems chill as fuck. There's a lot, man. There's a lot, bro. I mean, it's not really a lie, is it? That Tyson Fury's better than Dillian in every single department. I'd still say Dillian hits harder if he gets like full leverage. But apart from that, I mean, obviously on the other one, man, this channel is a small boxing channel. Yeah, Chris Lloyd, and it's a shame with Chris Lloyd because he really knows boxing. When he first went on DAZN, I thought he was a breath of fresh air, but yeah, he's gone into full shill mode. Boxing Gossip was a great channel. Excellent channel. And yeah, Chris Andre's class, by the way. Yeah, check out Chris Andre. Guy is really, really good. Well spoken. Loves his boxing. Can break it down really well. Yeah, I mean, TalkSport is what it is, bro. Reese, TalkSport is TMZ level sports coverage. Essentially, that's what it is. That's what it is. I've never heard him say that boxing. To be fair, though, one thing about sporting icons I give him a lot of credit for is he's not scared to say he's biased towards British fighters. I've got no problem with that if you're honest about it. Sporting icons is very honest. I don't get why people come at him like that about being biased. He admits it. He admits it. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're honest about it, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Chris Lloyd was advising Buatsi. Yeah. Big up to Duck. Salute Duck. Canelo MD. I can see that. I think that's a sensible pick, mate. I think that's a sensible pick. I'm going Canelo on points, just points any way whatsoever, points, whether he wins or not. Yeah, Bivol is very stoic. Very stoic. You can never really tell what he's thinking. He's one of those guys. You would never think he was a boxer if you met him in real life. What heavyweights do you think could have knocked out Nikolai Valuev? Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Riddick Bowe. I think Mike Tyson could have stopped him. I think he was useless. Honestly, Nikolai Valuev. I thought he was useless. He was just a big lump. That's really it. Big up to yourself, soothsayer. Are you streaming for the fight tomorrow morning? No, bro. Nah. I'm not going to watch it live. I'm going to watch it the next morning because I need to wake up relatively early, like 9 o'clock. So yeah, I'm going to watch it the next morning. No spoilers. I'll turn my phone off, and I'll get a copy on DAZN. You know. Yeah, Canelo just signed a $100 million deal for 2 fights with Golovkin in September. Judges are needed now, yeah. Chris Lloyd is almost worse than Tony Bellew. Tweets non-stop about the pic of him and Sky Nicholson. Then he says he's embarrassed and wants to forget, then shares it again. What a fool, yeah. Again, G-Man, it's a shame because he actually really knows his boxing, Chris Lloyd. But yeah, I know what you're saying, bro. I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, mind you, Beterbiev's got to fight Joe Smith Jr. That's not a foregone conclusion. Joe Smith is very dangerous, man. Very dangerous. On the other channel, bro, it's just me. Like occasionally, I speak to a lot of guys in Mexico, and they'll help me with translations sometimes on certain videos. But it's just me, really. It's just me. Yeah, Spencer Oliver saying light heavyweight is 168. How does he have a job at TalkSport as a boxing expert? Yeah, but apparently, you can't talk about boxing if you haven't boxed before. Gonzalo from Lobito's Den made a good point. I want to see Canelo win so that Golovkin can whoop Canelo's ass. Golovkin is not whooping Canelo at this point, man. Canelo's going to fuck him up in that third fight. Not fuck him up, but he'll win convincingly, In my opinion, I think he'll win like real and convincingly. In my opinion. Yeah, I just want to see some spite from Bivol. Yeah, I agree. Last person that has tried to hurt Canelo was Golovkin. Yeah, indeed. Big up to Outlaw Boxing Club, a.k.a. Jed. Big up to Jed every single time. Canelo isn't fighting Beterbiev anytime soon, if not at all. Give it 18 months or 2 years. Yep. Exactly, G-Man. That's the way to be as well. Talk about what you want. Yeah, but Chris Andre's brilliant, and it is what it is with YouTube. I talk about what I want, and never will I push a narrative to get in good with a promoter. They can like me for how I am. Exactly, bro. That's it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Picking a boxer based on his place of birth is as bad as picking based on skin color. Nationalist and racist are both the same. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who that's how they make their boxing picks for, you know. It is what it is. Is what it is. It's like Josh Taylor, for example. I see so many guys in the UK picking Josh Taylor to beat Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. I think he gets fucked up. I really do. I really do. Okay, Del, let's forget about the judges for a minute. Who will actually win the fight? Bivol. I'm going to say Bivol wins the fight. In like most fans' eyes, and gets robbed. Big up Gerard. Salute to Gerard. Big long-time supporter. Big up Gerard, man. Hopefully you're well. With Coogan supposedly being banned from America, how soon do you think IFL are banned too? Everybody knows Daniel Kinahan bankrolled the channel. Doesn't make sense to ban Coogan, but not IFL. Yeah. I mean, it's possible, right? It's very possible. I mean, if that happens, then yeah, I mean, they could be in a lot of trouble, right? But I mean, what's to stop Coogan? Let's say his channel can't technically go into America. What's to stop Coogan getting somebody independent who doesn't say I'm from IFL to do the interviews? Honestly, I can't do a top 10 because I don't watch that many channels, but G-Man, Unrivaled, Chris Andre, Hatman, Fight Film, Beats. There's a lot of channels I like. BDA, of course. Boxing Asylum. Yeah. Better fight me before I get too old. Better BF. Yeah, Valuev wasn't too good, bro. Yeah, I mean he got worked by Ruslan Shagayev. Shagayev was a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but yeah. Honestly, Huey might beat Valuev. If Fury retires, then do we say nobody was the best of his era? Or this era? That's a good question. Let's say, for example, right, Tyson Fury retires tomorrow. And let's say Usyk beats Joshua in the rematch. Then Usyk goes on to beat the likes of Joe Joyce and Hrgovic, for example. Let's say that happens. I would say Usyk was the best of his era because Tyson Fury forfeited that chance. So like if you forfeit, then you put yourself out of the race, right? That's how I see it. Yeah, tell me about it. Bump of Cain, yeah, his name. Yeah, Bivol has a chin too. The overhand right from Smith Jr. was massive, and he comes out the next round and boxed like it was round one. Smith couldn't land shit. Yeah, and another good thing about that shot, like Bivol wasn't really expecting it. He was expecting the round to end, so he wasn't tensed. You know, it was basically a free shot for Joe, and it hurt Bivol, but considering he took it very well. Coogan's name was on the list, not the channel. Ben Davison, Matthew Macklin, Coogan, and Ramanathan were on the list. Yeah, Coogan blocked me on Twitter. I forgot what I said, but he blocked me. Have you seen reports on Jose Ramirez versus Conor Benn? Honestly, if that does happen, no complaints from me. I can't see it happening, but if it does, no complaints. I don't care whether Ramirez is moving up because he's a big 140-pounder. And he's been talking about moving up for a little while now, Ramirez. So if Conor Benn fought Jose Ramirez, no problems on my end. No problems, because Conor Benn's not really a big welterweight. So listen, I'd be all for it. I'd be all for it. And I wouldn't be criticising Conor Benn like I do if he takes that fight. I wouldn't be criticising. I got Canelo UD 8 rounds to 4. I think Bivol will do well early on, but didn't like his last couple of fights opposition-wise. I think Canelo's experience will be too much and he will take over from the second half. Could be right. You could be right there, Jed. The way the media are in general are poor. Yep. Mediocre presenters who can rinse and repeat. Example, Neil Oliver, he's amazing, but he won't get a major gig anywhere. Likewise in boxing with YouTubers. Facts, G-Man. I totally agree. Bivol could give Canelo his 5th loss. Surely the fact that MTK have worked with every single promoter, then it opens a can of worms. Eddie, Bob, Frank all gave interviews saying they done business with him and he's a stand-up guy, yep. Proper Boxing is the funniest channel on the YTBC. I've never heard of him. I don't think I've heard of him. Let me have a look. Proper Boxing. Oh no, I have seen this dude. Yeah, because his channel is growing quick. That Proper Boxing, yeah. But I like again. I'm gonna shout him out again. He's hilarious. Based Boxing Basement. Guy's hilarious, man. Absolutely hilarious. I could see this guy's channel blowing up as well. He's fucking funny. Check him out. Based Boxing Basement. No, I think Hatman's all right, bro. I like his Patreon. His Patreon's really, really, really solid, and he's on the same page as me in regards to what's gone on in the last 2 years. So, oh, fuck's sake, pop up. Classic Hearn use of a name that hardcore boxing fans would love, but then the realist fans understand that Ramirez is a big draw from Top Rank, so it's impossible they would let him go to the UK and fight Ben. Yeah. People forget that, like, Ramirez sells a lot of tickets in California. He's a big ticket seller, like a really big ticket seller. They would have to shell out a lot of money to get Ramirez in the UK. A lot of money. Yeah, in an ideal world, Doc, I would agree. Yeah, Ramirez should try and get another title at 140. Yeah, I would agree. But, like, if that Conor Ben fight were to happen, I wouldn't be complaining, to be honest. I'd be okay with it. And again, I'm not asking the world from Conor Ben, right? So I wouldn't mind that fight. I'll be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, Fury needs to fight Usyk so long as Usyk doesn't put it off forever over this supposed war, yeah. So Ben Davison banned as well. Yep, apparently, yeah. That Chinese heavyweight is 39, needs to get moving. Yeah, he's fighting a replacement. He's fighting Scott Alexander. Alexander's not terrible, to be honest. He's a good journeyman at heavyweight. And given how bad Zhilei Zhang is, it could be a fun fight. Yeah, Coogan blocked me for saying don't get arrogant with that bent leg. Kell Brook just called it a day. There's no running from Avanesian or Marku. Oh, by the way, fuck. Keep on getting a pop-up for some reason. Big up to Gerard, by the way, for the contribution. Just a couple of beers, brother. Thank you very much. The beers are already in, Gerard. So that'll be on the next... That'll go to the next lot of beers. But yeah, come on, Bivol. Big up to yourself for the contribution. What are we drinking today? We have got some Brewdog Pale Ale, I think it is. And I've got some other fucking fancy IPA. You know? But yeah, big up to yourself, Gerard, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, Triple B is funny, but Proper is on another level. I'll check him out, bro. I've seen a couple of his videos, but I've not, like, you know, watched, like, loads in a row kind of thing. I get you, Duck. That's what I've been saying for, like, the last 2 fights now, you know. I understood the Formea fight. Made a lot of sense. I understood the Granados fight, the Samuel Vargas fight. Those fights made sense at that time. But after those fights, after the Granados fight, I think is when Conor should have fought somebody with ambition, who's coming to win, who's young, who's fresh, you know? But he's then fought Algieri, then he fought Chris Van Heerden. I mean, come on, man. Jesus. Nathan Friesen, sorry. I'm getting a feeling that this Bivol fight is fixed and that he'll be beating Canelo, but will turn into Kovalev by the 10th round and forget how to block. Yeah, I mean, the build-up to Canelo fights is always intriguing, right? I mean, boxing's one of those sports, I wouldn't put anything past it. But we shall see. Alba boxing is good and boxing-based basement, yeah. BB's channel is refreshing, but he talks too much about petty business. BBB is funny, man. He's so funny. Does Ben beat Ramirez? I don't think so. I don't think so, mate. Great fight, though. Yeah, Hatman's been around a long time. If Paulie didn't spit on a fan, then he would be fighting Ben. Probably, yeah, exactly, your old Canelo will wreck anybody he's up close to and able to land body shots against. Bivol is awesome at landing rangy 1-2s. I think this suits Bivol overall, but Canelo is too good. I'll leave it here. Go woke, go broke. This will hit boxing eventually. It will screw a lot in boxing. I hope so, bro. I hope so. I mean, I always thought like boxing was like the last bastion of like somewhere that you could go where you would escape like the PC narrative. But you know, it got boxing as well. Which is a shame, but it is what it is, you know. Have you seen the June 11th boxer card? A good one, to be honest. No, I haven't, bro. Is it on BoxRec? Let me have a look. BoxRec. See, I've actually really enjoyed the last few videos I've made, but I'm not checking for boxing news like I used to, you know. June the 11th, yeah? I fucking hate BoxRec sometimes, I really do. June 11th. If I could fucking type. June 11th. Okay, let's have a look. Richard Riakporhe versus Fabio Turchi at cruiserweight. That's a solid fight. Jermaine Brown versus Zach Shelley at 168. English super middleweight title. Decent fight. Chris Congo versus Sebastian Formea. Decent fight. Yes, some decent fights there. There's some decent fights there. Yeah, exactly. Once Connor steps up, he'll be in deep waters. I think he slaps his wife around. Jesus Christ. What's this myth about Canelo being a monster body puncher? The only one he has dropped to the body in recent times was Rocky Fielding. Yeah, Rocky Fielding's a disgrace, man. Honestly. Bivol by KO would be insane. Can you imagine? I'm drinking some lean and smoking some homegrown. It's a wavy Saturday. Big up to yourself, man. You got to enjoy yourself. Let your hair down. What does Pacquiao need to do to surpass Pacquiao? Sorry, what does Canelo have to do to surpass Pacquiao and Mayweather? I'm not sure, bro. I'm not one of those people who like compare accomplishments. Not really my scene, but I'd still say he's got a lot to do. James Toney doesn't rate Canelo that highly, and his talent ID is second to none. Sebastian Formea will beat Congo. Too much of a step up. I'll check that out when it happens. James Toney, skill for skill, best fighter of all time. He's my favorite fighter of all time. James Toney. To me, James Toney was like the last American road warrior. James Toney. Not road warrior. That's wrong term because he fought in America throughout his career. But he was the last kind of like anyone, anywhere, anytime type fighter. Yeah, Brewdog is good, man. I like Brewdog. I know it's a bit hipstery, but I like it. See, I was resisting the IPA craze for a long time, Joe. You know, but the more I tried of it, the more I liked it. I'm not going to lie. Some of them are a bit dodgy, but I do like IPAs. Yeah, Canelo wishes he could box like James Toney. Larry Jabelinski, Canelo by robbery. I heard that Bivol is half Romanian. Klitschko is crying. Yeah, Bivol I think is half Moldovan and half Korean, something like that, or Kyrgyzstani. Yeah, pork is okay in small doses. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You're older. I'm thinking about the political side of things. Conor Benn has some serious power, but that's about it. When he's up against somebody who can slip his shots with good defense, he'll be in trouble in the late rounds. I agree. And I'm not convinced, by the way, that he's as big a puncher as the last few knockouts indicate. You know, Chris Algieri was part-time retired, basically. Commentary gig, very inactive, coming back up to 147. Chris Van Heerden had one round of activity in nearly 3 years prior to Conor Benn. Samuel Vargas went through the meat grinder. Like a lot of these guys are done, that shot, you know. So how hard does Conor really hit? I mean, he couldn't put a dent in Samuel Vargas. No, not Samuel Vargas, Adrian Granados or Formea. Couldn't really put a dent in them. So I'm not sure how hard he hits. Canelo couldn't put a dent in Kovalev's rotten liver. Everybody said 6th round body shot KO, monster body puncher though. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's why I'm not really staying up for it. You know, I've learned my lesson with Canelo fights. I'm intrigued, but I'll wait for the morning. I'm not going to stay up until silly o'clock and ruin myself for the next day. Fuck that shit. I'll watch it in the morning when I wake up. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe Bivol has some integrity, I guess I would say, and he actually values his competitive spirit. We'll see though. We'll see. I go into Canelo fights now not really expecting much, quite frankly, but yeah, that's how I see it, Doc. He's got power, but yeah, nothing special. Didn't KO Granados or Formea, and he hit them plenty of times. Look at how Danny Garcia handled Granados, yeah, and people act like he's no good. Yeah, again, like I've seen so many people say on Twitter, you know, these proper casual, like British boxing fans, oh, Conor Benn knocks out Danny Garcia. Okay. Danny Garcia will knock out Conor Benn. Yeah, that's a good fight domestically. Yeah, that's a good fight domestically. Might watch the UFC instead of the Canelo fight. I mean, the UFC. Every time I've watched the UFC when they've promoted big cards, I've not really been disappointed. To be honest, you'll get a show. You'll get a show with the UFC. You've seen that Ben Whittaker signed with Boxer. Hear a lot of people say Boxer are working with Daniel Kinahan personally. Don't believe it, do you? I think Boxer is the right move at the end. Money talks, yeah. I think Boxer is the best place for these young Olympians because Sky Sports have the best or the biggest viewership. So in terms of exposure and things like that, yeah, Sky Sports is still very attractive for fighters because DAZN, to me at least, I don't really hear anybody talking about DAZN in the UK. I'm talking about my friends, you know, who are they're like casual boxing fans at best. They'll watch when Joshua or Fury fights, and that's it. And they don't really know what DAZN is. So Sky Sports, yeah, Sky Sports is a good shot for any young fighter. Is Bivol at 4-1 good odds? Haven't really seen him fight, but Chris Andre thinks he's got a pretty good chance. Just can't see Canelo not getting a decision. Well, that's it, Shazzy. Or Snazzy, sorry. I mean, on the surface, 4-1 is very good odds on Dimitri Bivol, but knowing what we know about Canelo fights, knowing what we know about the political situation, I wouldn't bet on. I wouldn't bet on it. No, I wouldn't bet on it personally. Yeah, exactly. Canelo has never legitimately been the lineal champ in any division. He can't come close to Pacquiao's accomplishments yet. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. It's horrible. It's horrible what is going on in the world, but I don't think you can punish an individual based on a government's actions. I mean, how can you say on one hand Vladimir Putin is a dictator, which he is? He's a gangster warlord, but you can't say he's a dictator on one hand and then say because you're Russian and because of the actions of your dictatorship that you can't fight just solely because you're Russian. That makes no sense. How can you say you're under a dictatorship but then hold you responsible for what that dictatorship does? It makes no sense. But whatever. Is what it is. IPA is rocket fuel, facts. I've been really putting off drinking though, man. I've had like fucking, I don't know, like 2 or 3 beers in the last month. I've just gone right off it. I don't need it. Waste of money, waste of energy, waste of everything. But occasionally I like a drink. I'll fight KSI. Give me a couple $100,000. I've not really thought about it, to be honest, BNK, but like just off the top of my head, I think Devin Haney beats him. I think people are overlooking the. I think people are taking the whole it's an Australia thing far too seriously. Devin Haney's recently signed some sort of deal with Top Rank. Bob has said there's going to be no Australian judges, so I think Devin will be okay out there. I really do. I think he'll be okay out there. In fact, he actually might get favoured, quite frankly. I mean, if you're a promoter, who are you going to put your stock into? Who would you rather invest in? Who can generate more money in the future? Yeah, I mentioned that in my prediction. Yeah, he did. I forget which round it was. But I think it was in the mid rounds. Yeah, where it made like Canelo kind of like breathe in and hold his shorts up. I think. Yeah. But again, I mean, nobody works for body when it comes to fighting Canelo. I mean, hopefully Bivol does. Hopefully Bivol sticks to the jab in the chest, comes down with that straight right to the gut, like you say, finishes combinations with the left to the body, etc. Is he going to do that? We shall see. We shall see. It's like the Kovalev fight, the fight before against Anthony Yard. He basically, it was a systematic destruction of Yard, death by 1,000 jabs, and the chest jab, the jab to the chest was key to gassing Yard out. But he never threw one against Canelo, not one. Just pouring the jab out, doing his best Paulie Malignaggi impression. We'll see. We'll see about Bivol. We'll see. Punch perfect boxing. It rings a bell. It rings a bell. But I've not seen it. He fought recently, counterpunch David Avanesian, so I don't think so. He fought like a month ago, maybe. Yeah, if he wins, he'll fail the post-fight tests. Yeah, he'll test for like uranium or something like that. Do you agree with Dana White when he said that boxers are being overpaid? Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's not so much boxers getting overpaid per se. It's more so boxers. It's certain fights, and like when Charlo fights Montiel, for example, right? I mean, what's he getting paid? $1.5 million, something like that. I mean, that's money for nothing. When you're paying the likes of Charlo over $1 million to fight a guy who's not a top 10 contender, when you're overpaying, listen, it's when you pay these guys silly money to fight guys who are not at the level, because that just creates a generation of spoiled and soft fighters. So like it's like with Leo Santa Cruz back in the day, like he was fighting the likes of Jose Cayetano and like scrub fighters for like $1 million paydays. If you're Leo Santa Cruz, why would you fight? Let's say you go back to those days and you're Leo Santa Cruz. Why would you fight Gary Russell for like $3 million when you can fight two bums for $1 million each in a year? Do you know what I'm saying? It kills fighters' appetites when you pay them too much for shit fights. If they're in a big fight which generates money, yeah, they should get a fair share of a pie, which could make a big payday. But like, yeah, boxers are overpaid for the most part. Yeah, absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. I'm sure Sky pump money into the Sheffield Institute as well. Yeah, they've got a very close relationship with the Sheffield lot. They do. Yeah, definitely worth a bet, as Canelo is a midget. Again, I wouldn't bet on a Canelo fight, bro. I wouldn't. I think you're throwing your money away. Exactly, Norman. Yeah, facts. Haney hasn't got a punch to hurt Kambosos, and I've seen him look uncomfortable a few times versus lesser fighters. Yeah, I mean, listen, Devin Haney certainly he's got the aura of vulnerability around him right now, no doubt about it. I do think a lot of that is down to the weight cut. He is huge for 135, and that has to be taking something out of his durability. But yeah, there is that. You have to take that into account, but I've just got a feeling Devin Haney's gonna pip him on points. To be honest, hate to say it, but I think Haney scores Kambosos. Maybe he'll have a scary moment or two. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm thinking like an 8-4 type fight, maybe a 7-5 in favor of Haney. Probably legit as well. Probably legit. But I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'm looking forward to that fight. Should be interesting. I do think not Haney. I do think people are going a little overboard with Kambosos. I think people overblow the TO win. Good win, don't get me wrong, and he won that fight. But like I've seen people say, "Oh, Kambosos won like 9 rounds to 3." I mean, I had that fight close. I had it for Kambosos by 2 rounds, I think it was, or 2 points. I mean, he got past Tio in a fight in which he wasn't expected to win, and as much as I don't like Tio, I think there was something wrong with him that night. I really do. To me, he didn't look the same. Tactics were awful. Mentally not there. I mean, he looked dreadful. But there was something wrong with him. I'm convinced of it. I think he's been flattered by that win, Kambosos. I really do. But maybe I'm wrong. Weight bully Haney is going to fade horribly in the late rounds and get stopped. I can't see him getting stopped, bro. I really can't. I can't see him getting stopped. The fact they're hosting the rematch in Saudi while saying the rematch is a perfect opportunity to highlight how bad Russia are violating Ukraine. Yeah, well, that's just life, isn't it? That's just life. Yeah, Haney beats Kambosos without too much trouble. I think he'll jab his head off. Anthony Manzano, he says, blue collar, let's see Canelo win against Dimitri. Would you rather see him fight Benavidez or Beterbiev, do you mean? And would you rather... hang on, I'll read this again. Blue collar, let's say Canelo wins against Dimitri Bivol. Would you rather see him fight Benavidez or Beterbiev? And if it's Benavidez, would you rather see Cinco de Mayo or Mexican Independence? Doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. But if he beats Bivol, then it has to be Beterbiev-Smith winner, in my opinion. Has to be the Beterbiev-Smith winner. That's what I want to see. Canelo fights have become kind of predictable now. I'm hoping tonight might be different, but I doubt it. Yeah, that's my mindset as well, Gerard. That's my mindset. Kevin Fuentes, who has Camboso stopped? Exactly. Who has Camboso stopped? Couldn't stop, obviously, T.O. Couldn't stop Mickey Bay, who was 35, 36. Couldn't stop Lee Selby, who, by the way, got absolutely destroyed in his next fight against Gustavo Lemos in Argentina. Like, there's this myth now that, like, Cambosos is like a huge puncher. He can crack a little bit, don't get me wrong, but he's not a massive puncher. Who's next for Dillian White? Maybe someone like I wouldn't mind seeing like Andy Ruiz maybe and Dillian White. He's either breaking bigger men's faces or winning every round. Yeah. I agree with Dana White. I read between the lines. He's saying that promoters are overpaying the fighters too soon and giving them overinflated purses. Yeah, that's the problem, though. It's overinflated purses for shit fights. That's the problem. Like, if it's a big pay-per-view fight and there's like thousands in attendance and hundreds of thousands of people buy it, cool. Pay these guys a good sum. That's great. But like, when you're paying a guy like $2 million to fight a bum in an arena that sold like 2,000 tickets and it's on regular TV, I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But that's the thing, though, with boxing fans. They'll say, oh, the UFC don't pay their fighters enough, blah, blah, blah. Cool. But, I mean, who's getting the better product? I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I would like to see a fighter get fairly rewarded. But at the end of the day, my main concern is the product as a consumer, right? So UFC are delivering better products than boxing on a whole, I would say. I think that's fair to say. And but I mean, boxing schedule is pretty good coming up, but like consistently, UFC deliver more than boxing does. Fun fact: I boxed for the Albania in the amateurs. Cool, man. Ramirez stops Ben. Not convinced of Ben's chin. I would be picking Ramirez. Yet Soler, I agree. Cambosos doesn't seem like he'll be a champion for long. Was a dog when he won the belt. He's awesome, but didn't dominate. I agree. Yeah, I've said it for ages. Certain boxers are overpaid. It takes away from their ambition, and we don't get any good fights. Exactly, bro. Exactly. I said the same thing with Andrade on DAZN when he was fighting the likes of Jason Quigley and Luke Keeler for like $1 million, right? If you're Andrade, and I criticize Andrade for ducking Janibek, but if you're Andrade and you're getting paid $1 million to fight a scrub like fucking Jason Quigley, and then you're mandated to fight Alim Kanuli where you're going to get paid $1 million or maybe a little bit more, why would you fight him? Why would you fight him? High risk, low reward. I mean, the way I always kind of rationalized it in my mind was like, if I was a fighter, right, and I was going through the levels, making some money, then I get a world title shot, maybe on a world title. Let's say I made a couple defenses, made a couple mil. At that point, I'll be willing to fight anybody because I've got enough money at that point. I wouldn't need much. I've got enough money at that point. I'll fight anybody. Fuck it. Let's go. But most of these guys just want to stack their cash, fight bums, and yeah, only cash out when it's really lucrative. It's crazy, man. And it's the worst when it's in a division surrounding someone like Canelo when there's a big money guy, because all of these guys do fuck all and wait for that phone call. That's all they do. They'll wait around, they'll fight bums and hope that they get that phone call. We see it with Charlo, we see it with Benavidez, Andrade, you know. Yeah, the exorbitant money is why we have soft fighters in the States. Honestly, Lawrence Okoli might knock him out. I wouldn't be surprised if Lawrence Okoli knocks out Dillian White at heavyweight, believe it or not. Because there's no doubt Lawrence Okoli is cutting a hell of a lot of weight to make cruiserweight. He might be punching harder at heavyweight. Wouldn't be shocked if he knocks out Dillian White now. Chavez Sr. and Maidana are picking Canelo by KO mid-rounds. Bookie Shills, Canelo Dick Riders, yeah. Well, Maidana's weird, man. Every time there's one of these sort of fights, he's always there. He's always there, man. But yeah, Chavez is what he is, though. I think he's just shilling. He's shilling because it's Canelo, being nationalistic. But as for Maidana, who knows? I've got Canelo winning the fight by split decision versus Dimitri. Haney is not better than Lopez, and Kambosos handled him. I mean, Haney's not better than Lopez. I mean, I'm not sure about that. I mean, listen, Teofimo would be made to take the lead against Devin Haney. He would be made to take the lead and create his own openings and apply pressure. I don't think Teo's a good front foot fighter at all. I really don't. I think stylistically, Devin's a horrible fight for Teo. Teo could catch him and knock him out, absolutely. But it's a horrible fight for Teo. I don't think... Look, I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I think Teo's got more gifts in terms of like reflexes and sheer power, that sort of thing, explosiveness. But in terms of boxing skills, Devin Haney's better, in my opinion. Maybe I'm on my own in that one, but I think Devin's a really bad stylistic matchup for Teo. Teo's chances in that fight lie late when Devin starts to slow down a bit, when he gets a bit careless. Yeah, there's that as well, Randy Orton. Yeah, Eddie was saying that Sky offered Ben Whittaker ×2 what Eddie offered. Could be promoter wars inflating fighters' values as well, yeah. Especially when you've got, like, when the PBC came along, they had that war chest of investors' money and they threw it around like it was nobody's business and overpaid so many fighters. That in itself created a generation of soft fighters. Then you had the Zone coming into the game, paying exorbitant money, for average fights. It doesn't help boxing. But, these little mongs on Twitter, oh, these fighters are getting paid so much. It's so great. I mean, are you seeing that money? And are you getting the fights you want to see? And the answer is no to both questions. It's insane, but it is what it is. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Lopez was in form that night. Something was wrong with him. Yeah, I agree. And I think Lopez was overrated to a degree after he beat Lomachenko. He was getting overrated, but he's a good fighter, and I didn't see that against Kambosos. To me, something was off. Yeah, Haney isn't getting stopped. The ref will take a few punches for him if need be. Yeah, it could be like the old Andrade and Bute fight in Canada way back in the day. Or Amir Khan versus Maidana. That's another one where the referee was basically saving Khan in that fight when Khan got hurt. It happens, man. It happens. Yeah, he will, Alex. Yeah, Ben Whittaker's going to go down that route. He's going to be like the Billy Joe Saunders or James DeGale. Yeah. To be honest, though, he'll do well to follow James DeGale because you might think he was a prick but he actually fought people, to be honest. He took hard fights, and he was in some good fights as well, DeGale. And he wasn't scared to travel, James DeGale, so I'll give him that credit. Yep, Lomachenko versus Lemos will be a nice fight. Lomachenko could become the IBF Mando too, yeah. Yeah, Lemos is a good fighter. Gustavo Lemos, or Lemos, how you say his name. He looked good, though. He looked very good, very powerful. Yeah, Areola would make sense for Dillian White as a comeback. Areola has some name value, but he's very beatable at this point. Way past his best. I mean, he looks good. I mean, against who he's fighting, you know, good hand speed, nice variation in his shots, heavyweight that goes to the body, he can counter, seems to carry decent power. I mean, he looks good so far, but time will tell with heavyweights, you know, time will tell. One thing about him, I know it sounds really weird, but he's got a small head. He's got a small head, and I've just got this vision of him getting caught, man, and getting badly knocked out. Ben versus Jose Zepeda. I mean, I would watch it. I wouldn't mind it. I prefer the Ramirez fight, though. The Haney that fought Linares loses to Kambosos. Maybe. I'm not sure, man. I think Kambosos is getting overrated. That's not to say I think Devin is like the next coming of fucking Sugar Ray Leonard either, by the way. Because I don't. I think he's got flaws himself, but I just think he'll beat Kambosos. Yeah, if a fighter has a big fight, they should get big money. But if their fight isn't as big, their pay should reflect that. Problem is, fighters don't want pay cuts. Yeah. Exactly. Said this multiple times. These young fighters have the Money Mayweather mentality way before they have a Pretty Boy Floyd mentality. Yeah. Why do some of these old school Mexican fighters have some sort of hatred for Canelo? Is it out of jealousy because of the amount of money he's getting, or is it because of his track record? I mean, listen, people do naturally jealousy is a thing when you earn if you're earning that sort of money. Yeah, people are going to be jealous, obviously, but I think it's more so they see Canelo as having a helping hand by, you know, the powers that be, the authorities in boxing. I think they'll see Canelo as somebody who's not really trod the same road that they did to get to where they got to, kind of thing. Like the likes of Marquez, who was, you know, a B-side for a lot of fights, fighting abroad in Indonesia when he fought Chris John, had to really kind of work his way up there. You know, I think it's more so how Canelo came to be more so than anything. His career progression, I don't think they view it as legit. You know. The fights that would have made most sense for White are probably Parker or Joe Joyce. Can't be a coincidence that they were tied up. Maybe Wallin, a good win against him couldn't hurt. Yeah, Wallin would be a good fight, actually. I wouldn't mind seeing Wallin White. Ruiz gets a bad rap because of his fight with Areola, but Areola hits like a Mack truck, and Ruiz continued to win rounds after taking serious damage. Yeah, but still, man, it was a 38, 39-year-old Areola. It's not a good look. Haney versus Tank, who wins? I wasn't impressed at all with Tank against Isaac Cruz. I know it's totally different styles, but again, man, if Devin's boxing and moving, he's making Tank apply pressure and making Tank take the lead. Again, Tank's not that sort of fighter. He's got Broner footwork, dragging that back leg. He follows guys around him. He comes forwards. I think, again, Devin could get knocked out because he's vulnerable, but if it goes 12 rounds, I can't see Tank winning that fight. I can't, just stylistically. I think Lopez would counter Haney. If he does, I think it would be later on, Alan. Early on, I don't think he would. But I think as the fight plays out, yeah, I mean, Devin slows down, as we know, and he loses concentration. So yeah, maybe later on. I'm not saying Tio couldn't win that fight. By the way, he could knock out Devin, no doubt. But I'm just saying, like, stylistically, I think it's a hard fight for Tio. I don't think it's like a easy fight to pick. Honestly, I think Devin Haney would struggle more. This might be crazy. I think he would struggle more with somebody like William Zepeda or even Gustavo Lemos. That sheer pressure with power, great volume, that sort of thing. I think he'll really struggle with that style at lightweight, given how we've seen him against Linares and Jojo Diaz, how he struggled with Diaz's pressure and he can't punch. He's a blown up super feather. Against a big lightweight like William Zepeda or Gustavo Lemos, who both those guys apply crazy pressure with great volume and really good power. I think he would struggle against those guys. Whereas I think Tio is a more kind, stylistic matchup to him. Charlo Castano 2 prediction. I've got a weird feeling. I've just got a weird feeling that Charlo's going to walk him into something. That's not my pick yet, but that's my gut instinct right now. And I felt Castano won the first fight clearly, 8-4. But yeah, just got that feeling, just a gut feeling. I've got Canelo by controversial decision. Big stiff idiot. That's my pick. When or if Lomachenko comes back, Haney vacates all of the belts because Loma ducking. Calling it now. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he'll try and make Lomachenko come up to 140. Because apparently, according to what I read at least, this new top rank deal, fighting Kambosos in, June, July, whenever it is, then there's going to be a rematch in Australia, providing Haney wins. And then they want to make the Lomachenko fight. I don't buy that, to be honest. I really don't buy it. I can't see Haney sticking around at lightweight for three fights. So Kambosos twice, then Loma. I can't see it. What time is the Canelo fight UK time? I'd imagine that the ring walks are like 4:30 in the morning. So silly o'clock. If Tio hasn't learned from the Kambosos fight, he will struggle against both Haney and Tank and likely be outpointed by both fairly decisively, yeah. Exactly, bro. I mean, have you heard Teofimo Lopez since that fight, coming out with all of the excuses in the world, man? It's insane. That kid is not mentally right. I'm telling you, he's not mentally right. Tio. And he needs to get away from his dad. Like, he needs to get his dad out of his career. He needs to go back to Joey Gamache with his cap in hand, groveling, and work with him again. I mean, Teofimo Sr., he makes Angel Garcia look like fucking, I don't know, Manny Stewart. Awful trainer. Yeah, exactly, yeah. He spent his energy way too fast. He went in there just trying to blast him out, yeah. Canelo's getting whooped tonight. I can't see it, bro. I can't see it. No, I disagree. I think Navarrete could be interesting. Very unorthodox style, Navarrete. He's one of those guys, man. His sense of, it's not even sense of distance, but his opponents have a real hard time with their sense of distance against Navarrete because he's got a weird ass body type. His arms are like fucking gorilla arms. He leads with weird shots at weird angles from the outside, and he'll jump in. He'll catch you when you're not expecting it. Real offbeat rhythm. There's something about his style. Doesn't look right, but it's very effective. Navarrete. So I think he would give Shakur a lot of trouble. Before he has that fight, though, I'd want to see Navarrete at 130 first. Maybe have an interim fight. Be great to see Premier League football at Kenilworth Road. If the ground is up to standards, yeah. I mean, they're playing today, I think, Luton. They're playing today, and I think they need to win to get in the playoffs. It's today or tomorrow. I think it might be tomorrow. Who's playing today? We're playing in a bit. Playing Brighton. Just having a look at the scores quickly. Bloody hell, Lukaku scored twice for Chelsea. Fucking hell. The world's coming to an end. Jesus. Bivol will drop him late. 12th with Canelo, robbery, split decision or MD win. Yeah, I can't see him dropping Canelo, to be honest, but you never know. Golovkin won their first fight and likely the second fight too. Canelo did get great decisions in his favour, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about the first fight. Second fight was a lot closer, but even the second fight, I've not scored it since I first watched it. And I had it 7-5 for Golovkin. That was on my first watch. That's the only time I've scored it. I've seen it since, but I've not scored it since. And I think I had the first Golovkin-Canelo fight. I think I had at 8-4 to Golovkin. I think. Maybe HGH, maybe. I mean, his head has grown exponentially since the Floyd fight, Canelo Alvarez. His head shape's changed since the Floyd fight. It's like a cinder block on legs, man. It's crazy. I would say HGH. As well as, like natural man strength coming in, things like that. Yeah, there's that as well. I could be wrong, but I don't think we've seen the last of Tio. Wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a champion at 140, but it depends on his mindset. The talent is there, in my opinion. Yeah, he's got the raw. Again, he's one of those guys. I wouldn't describe him as like technically talented, but he's got the raw attributes to be a really good fighter. So like speed, explosiveness, etc. That sort of thing. He's got those attributes, but he needs a lot of technical work to go along with it. And with his dad, he's not going to get it. What, a prime Maidana? Maidana squashes him in 4 or 5 rounds, I would say. Castaño he's a much different fighter to Maidana. He's much more skilled on the inside. He's more technical, Castaño. Not as big a puncher either, like pound for pound, but much more skilled, Castaño. Much more skilled. But I do miss Maidana as a pro. I liked his fights. Yeah, calling Tio Senior a trainer is awfully kind, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. But boxing is the only sport where somebody like that can be involved in such a high-level event, like training an athlete or helping train an athlete. It wouldn't fly in any other sport. I can't think of another sport where it would fly. It's insane. It's really insane, man. The guy's garbage, man. Golovkin won the first. Second was a draw. Yeah, maybe a draw. I could see that potentially. I'd need to go back and rescore it. But when I scored it first time around for second fight, I had it 7-5 Golovkin. I couldn't believe what I was hearing after that second fight. Oh, Canelo pushed Golovkin back the whole fight. I mean, I never saw the same fight. I must have been watching a different fight, man. They were going toe-to-toe in many rounds. Pushed him back. He held his feet, cool. He held his feet with Golovkin, stood with Golovkin, but pushed him back. I suggest that, yeah, people need to watch that fight again. Best and worst trainer out of Tio Senior, Angel Garcia, and Ruben Guerrero. Tio is dead last. I'll put Angel Garcia as number one. Fuck it. Yeah, great burgers have made Canelo Iron Man. I'll tell you what, I need to start eating those tacos, man. Yeah, Eddie's been very snidey with Bivol. I don't like how Eddie's handled Bivol at all, man. Basically kept him on the shelf, kind of shipped him out to Russia for his last fight. Yeah. I mean, even in the Craig Richards fight, they tried to rob Bivol because that fight was clear Bivol, like clear. Like maybe Richards won 2 or 3 rounds. And 2 of those cards were super close. Super close. I actually think Tank would get to Zepeda. I think Tank knocks out Zepeda because of Zepeda's relentlessness. Like he leaves a lot of openings in his aggression. So I take Tank to knock out Zepeda. But Zepeda has a great chance against Haney, in my opinion. I respectfully disagree, Beavis. Fight 1, 8-4 Golovkin. Fight 2, 7-5 Golovkin. That's how I had it as well. Who wins? Nonito versus Gonzalez. So at what, 118? You've got to go with Donaire. Just too big. Just too big. And by the way, I'm looking forward to that rematch as well. Donaire versus Inoue. That's going to be great, man. That first fight was tremendous. I watched that fight back a couple of weeks ago because Fight Film, he made a video on it, on the rematch. And I watched it back, the first fight, that is. And I forgot how badly Inoue was damaged in that fight. His eye was fucked. And he took some serious shots in that fight. That's going to be a great rematch, man. It's going to be a great rematch. If Donaire pulls it off, man, that has to be the greatest Indian summer of a career in boxing history. Surely. That's insane. If he pulls it off, it's insane. Looking forward to it. Yeah, exactly, Duck. Yeah. Yeah, Tio Senior's the worst. Nah, Beavis, come on, man. You're being a bit over the top, over dramatic there. I don't see. Yeah, he's going to 140, Anthony. He said that. Yeah, he's going to 140. But when he comes back, I see him moving up to 140 to either fight Josh Taylor or Subriel Matias. He's not fighting Matias. Oh shit, that fight's on a Thursday, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good point. What date is it? Let me have a look. I will need to book that off. Iowa Inoue. Let's go on Box Rec. So the 7th of June, not only a month away, exactly a month away. Del, I thought it would be kind of cool to see a major boxing pay-per-view fight at either Real Madrid Stadium or Barcelona Stadium, Dortmund or Bayern Munich Stadium. Yeah, I mean, there's no fighters from those regions where that could happen. Like maybe you could get Canelo in Spain to fight in the Madrid Stadium or the Nou Camp in Barcelona. Maybe that would work, but like. I don't think there's a fighters to really pull that off, to be honest. I don't think they're out there. Because German boxing in particular is really struggling right now. There's nobody coming up from Germany. Nobody. Like Germany always had a solid scene. But after the last generation, so that was like Marco Huck, Arthur Abraham, Felix Sturm, etc. Those sort of guys. After that generation, German boxing has gone down the toilet. There's nobody out there now. Like who is the best German fighter right now? I can't even think. That's a good point. Let's go on BoxRec. Let's go on ratings and sort it by nationality. We'll go German. Because Germany always had it. They always had a solid scene. Nothing special, but they always had some good fighters. Germany. There you go. So according to BoxRec, take it with a grain of salt. Top 5 German fighters: Jack Kolkai, who's decent; Abbas Barral, decent; Noel Gavor, decent. Then you got like the likes of Vincent Feigenboots and Sebastian Formea. Yes, it's really poor out there now in Germany. Really poor. Yeah, you got Caballero as well. No, I agree, bro. Like, I can't see him fighting Subriel Matias, though. Can't see it. Germans are so pathetically soft these days, they can't cut it in boxing anymore. I'm not sure what it is, man. I mean, I think the whole of the Western world is becoming soft. It's not just exclusive to Germany. But I don't know. But even back in the day, though, like Arthur Abraham was like, he was actually Armenian. Felix Sturm, I believe, was Bosnian, I want to say. I think Marco Huck was Armenian as well. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, bro. Yeah, Zerdo's fighting Dominic Bozel. Not a great fight. Again, I like Gilberto Ramirez. I think he's a good fighter, but his career has been fucking worthless for a long time. His career has been worthless for a long time. But I do rate him. I think he's a good fighter, but yeah, he just stagnated, I guess. Yeah, Wallin is Swedish, yeah. Oh, Marco Huck was Albanian, okay. But yeah, a lot of the German fighters were like Armenian, Albanian, you know, who plied their trade in Germany. Obviously, Mikuchelski, Polish, but based his career in Germany. The Klitschko brothers based their careers in Germany. Yeah. That's one thing I want to see from the UK, though, actually. It's more like European fighters fighting out here, basing their careers out here. Like Polish fighters could easily do it because there's a lot of Polish in the UK, particularly in like London and, the big cities. There's a lot of Polish who would come out and support. Okay, Hook's Bosnian. Okay. So I thought he was Armenian. Somebody said he was Albanian and he's actually Bosnian. Fucking hell. But who else was there? Like, yeah, Mikuchelski. I mean, that was late 90s, early to late 90s. Polish, based in Germany. Who else was there? Sebastian Sylvester. I remember him. There's a few guys, man. Robert Stieglitz. They had some good fighters once upon a time. Okay, Huck is Bosnian. Cool. The last great heavyweights, specifically for Germany, were the Klitschko brothers. I understand they're Ukrainian, but they fought most of their careers in Germany. Yeah, yeah. The crowds were dead. That's one thing about their fan how they watch boxing is a lot different out there. Marcus Bayer, yeah, he was another one. Sven K, how can we forget? Murad Alayev made Germany a home now. Is he the heavyweight dude, Duck? There's a few Alayevs I've seen. Mm. Trying to find him. Alayev. Murad Alayev. I've heard of that dude. Because there's a few Alayevs I've seen. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, the heavyweight you're talking about. Yeah, because he fought. Didn't he fight for France in the Olympics? Didn't he represent France? If that's the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah, heavyweight who was a top amateur from France. Yeah, but he's actually Russian, isn't he? Yeah, yeah. German boxers are mainly Bolton. Yeah, Balkan. Sorry, Bolton. Balkan. Max Schmeling was the best German fighter, though. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Cuban fighters now that are fighting out of Germany. Yeah, like there's that heavyweight. What's his name? So Cuban heavyweight's name. I forget his name. But yeah, there's a Cuban heavyweight fighting out of Germany right now. But it's happened before. Like Gamboa, way back in the day, had a few fights in Germany early in his career. It's happened before. June 18th, Beavis. I've got Beterbiev, but it's a dangerous fight. Very dangerous fight. No problem, Gerard, man. Have a good one, brother. Have a good one. I've got to start thinking about cooking dinner as well. I've got pork chops, like proper pork chops, still on the bone. A lot of nice bit of fat on them. But I'm not good at cooking pork. I'm not going to lie to you. Not good at cooking pork, so need to think of a way to do them. I pan fry them, but trying to. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Jose Ladouet, however you say his name. Yeah, the fat guy. Yeah. Yeah, Frank Sanchez. Yeah, I think he's a problem as well, Bump of K. People are not going to like his style, but he's going to give a lot of guys trouble. Not many guys. Listen, there's guys out there who I pick to beat him, but I don't think anybody looks good against him. But yeah, I've said that about Frank Sanchez for a while. I think he's an awkward fight for most. He's a dangerous fight. It's possible, Ben. It's possible. I mean, Smith hits hard enough, and he generates most of that power at mid range. So if he catches Beterbiev coming in, he can do some serious damage. Beterbiev's best bet is to stick on Joe's chest, because Joe, if you're on his chest and you're like forcing him back, doesn't really generate that much power. He needs space to generate power. So Beterbiev needs to get up close, collapse the pocket, and just work Joe, work Joe, work Joe. Stick on him, kind of thing, like white on rice. Smother him, because Beterbiev in the clinch generates fucking scary power with his free hand. I've not seen anything like it in boxing. I don't understand how he generates so much power from just a free hand in a clinch. It's crazy. Filip Hrgovic versus Dave Allen. Jesus Christ. Do you want to see someone get killed? WB said, if Fury vacates, Frank Sanchez is in line for the title, probably versus Wilder. Do you know what? That'll actually be a very interesting fight. Frank Sanchez versus Wilder. I'll be all for it. Honestly, Wilder shouldn't be getting a title shot, but I'd like to see it. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. Honestly, if you asked me that back in the day, I'd pick fucking Hrgovic convincingly, like comfortably kind of thing, but I'm not so sure now. I'd probably still pick Hrgovic, but it's a hard fight. It's a hard fight. Yeah, they're not really worth looking at, Jared, to be honest. Beterbiev's a ticking time bomb with regards to his age, but this fight won't be the fight he crumbles if he fights on the inside. I agree. No, he's not. He's not cousins with Khamzat Chimaev, is he? I've never heard that before. I'd have to check that out. That doesn't sound true. I'm sure I would have heard of it by now. I like Frank Sanchez, but if I had power in boxing, I wouldn't want him getting his hands on the belts for business reasons. I get you, bro. I get you, but he's fucking effective at what he does. Yeah, he looks ridiculously strong. It's like he's made out of wood, Beterbiev. He looks like he's made out of wood. It's crazy. He's a strong dude, man. Strong dude. Like people always love to talk about the fantasy fight between Kovalev and Beterbiev, like a prime Kovalev versus Beterbiev. And I was, until I saw the Vodzik fight, I would pick Kovalev. But after what I saw Beterbiev do against Vodzik, a guy who is a really good long-range boxer with great straight punches, great power, great counters, after what he did to Vodzik, I think Beterbiev might get to a prime Kovalev. I think he might get to him. That would have been a tremendous fight, prime for prime. Beterbiev versus fucking Kovalev. Canelo, mate. Canelo's head movement all day long. maybe, Soler, maybe. He'll basically, at that point in time, Anthony, I think he might even vacate everything and basically then just pick and choose. Go up and down, basically, and take the fights he wants to take. Frank Sanchez, boring as fuck. Can't stand him. Yeah, but I'll be honest, the Christian Hammer fight was horrible. See, I didn't mind the FA Jagba fight watching in real time. I actually found that all right to watch because you never know. You never really knew what was going to happen with a Jagba's power. But he's not one of those guys where you go back and watch his fights. Good fight. I'd favor Andy Ruiz, but it's a good fight. Vodzik ain't no Kovalev, though. Kovalev was an absolute monster puncher in his prime, but yes, I agree. Beterbiev has the style to get to him. Yeah. No, I get you, Duck. I get you, yeah. Prime Beterbiev was a level above Vodzik. But, I don't know, man. That fight to me showed a lot about Beterbiev. Because there was a lot of people picking Vodzik to win that fight. In fact, I want to say it was basically 50-50 with the bookies. But most people I knew picked Vodzik to win. Me and Mark picked Beterbiev, I know. I'm pretty sure Mark did as well. I think Maidana might have been too big. Yeah, that would be at 140. Yeah, Maidana would have been too big, but yeah, would have been a hell of a war. Yeah, so I don't think it's bare knuckle out. I don't think it's bare knuckle. I think it's a regular fight. He's fighting Pulev's brother, Tervel Pulev. Anyway, guys, I need to wrap this one up. I need to make some dinner. I need to make some dinner. I've got some pork chops I need to do. So, yeah. Hopefully you enjoy the fights tonight. We'll see how it plays out. Post-fight review tomorrow at some point in time. So, yeah, keep out for it. Watch out for it. And, stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Peace.